Welcome to Integrated Wellness and Beauty. My name is Buck McMurray. I am the president of the Americas, and I am your host for today. It's so good to be with you. And we've got a very, very special guest with us, someone that has been engaged with wellness, with Pharmanex, with the scanner for so many years. And now she's having a revival in her business. And we wanted to hear from her and just hear about her experience with Nu Skin, hear about her experience in direct sales and network marketing, and hear how the Prism is impacting her business today. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome our guest today, Paige Riffle. Paige, I see you in the comments. Are you there?
I am indeed here. Very excited to be here. Thank you. Good morning.
Paige, we're zooming in from the car today. It's so good to have you. Tell us a little bit about your experience, like your background, where you came from, and how you actually got into direct sales and network marketing.
Oh my goodness. Well, it's been over 30 years and I have a master's degree in speech pathology. I spent decades in the sick care industry working with brain trauma and stroke recovery. I saw that chronological age didn't make as much difference as how you treated yourself internally and externally, what you put into your head, what you put into your body, and the lifestyle you could lead. So I won't say that I don't believe in accidents, but I was led to the direct selling industry when we were breeding Labradors when our kids were little. And I had a woman say, you should do this. Now, 4 people had asked me to get involved with a different supplement company, the same one, but 4 times until this woman said, you owe it to yourself to look. You're all about health and wellness. You talk about it. You owe it to your family to at least try it. She bought one of my Labradors, became a friend, got me on product, and I thought, well, how hard could this be? You help a lot of people and you get paid to do that. That was my introduction to the industry. And then 24 and a half years ago, I was led to this company because of the ability to quantify and measure with the S1 scanner, and everything changed.
Wow, that's incredible. So how many years were you with that original company that you joined?
Well, I'm a loyalist, almost 10 years, just shy
Oh
of 10
my
years.
gosh. So you've been in direct sales and network marketing for over, well, almost 34, 35 years.
Correct.
That's
Correct.
incredible. So the breadth of experience, the knowledge, the know-how that you have about this channel is incredible. And I'm guessing you've seen it change and migrate and been adjustments to it over the years. What are some of those adjustments and changes that you've seen?
Oh, we've seen a lot of changes. I will tell you, in the company that I came from, in the almost 10 years I was there, it was pretty much the same 10 people that had made over $1 million in commissions. So I thought, well, maybe I'm not the smartest on the block, but there are no new ones in almost 10 years. And I remember my first international convention coming to look at this company, and there were hours of people walking across the stage at new pin titles, new celebrations, crossing the COE, having made their million in the company and paid their taxes on that legitimately. And I thought, wow. And truly an international company, which got me very excited, because that statue that's in front of our innovation center with the children holding hands, it doesn't matter how old you are, what color your skin, what language you speak. People have the same agenda. Usually they want to make a difference in the world. They want to live optimally. They want to take care of their kids, and they want to have fun doing that. And that was my passion, seeing the international piece of this and being able to make a difference. With regard to changes, oh my goodness, I laugh, because I think the first couple changes that I got in the industry, I thought, oh my gosh, how are we going to weather this? And then I've learned the one thing that we can count on is change. You
Yeah.
need to be adaptable. The world
Yeah.
changes. I mean, let's face it, the world is changing every single day. And I will tell you, I'm incredibly impressed at the leadership of our company, both the leaders in the field and the leaders at corporate, with being able to adapt to that change and help others through change. If you're rigid, you're never going to make it. If you adapt to change and embrace quality and integrity and doing the right thing, there isn't a better place to be.
So let me ask you this. How have you changed the way that you've done business over the 35 years?
Good point. Because when we started with the original S1 scanner, and everybody's heard the stories, I mean, it only worked between 72 and 75 degrees Fahrenheit. So we had buckets of ice, we had heating pads, we had all these things to keep it within that range. But we watched how that evolved to then being, it didn't take 2 hours to warm it up. You didn't have to use calibrated putty to get it to be accurate. It actually was able to go wireless and to the top of Everest and scan at frigid temperatures and be as accurate. We've seen changes with the scanner. We talked about someday having a pocket-sized scanner, and that was just so sci-fi. And the fact that we have that now is just brilliant. We've watched it change where approximately 10 years or so, where it switched completely from Pharmanex to social. And I was thinking, I could post on Facebook, but that's not my native language. And my population, my leadership team were predominantly health professionals and people that were passionate about fitness and health and wanting to help others. It wasn't the social icons or those that had a network through social media. So we had to adapt and change through that and have learned to blend the two because it's not one or the other. It's, when I first came with this company, you had to choose which conference room you went to, whether you went to Pharmanex or you went to New Skin or you went to Big Planet that then evolved into Photomax. And it's like three different companies. And I remember being on a ship, I believe in the Baltic, when they said that Joe was going to be over one house of New Skin and Pharmanex because it was internal, external health and nutrition. And it made sense. You couldn't affect skincare without taking care of what was on the inside. So we've seen a lot of changes over the years, but most of it changes for the good. And again, being very impressed with how the leaders in the field and the leaders at our home at corporate have adapted and helped us navigate that.
Yeah. That's incredible. Yeah, I've heard stories about back in the day where you had these different divisions of New Skin, and it was like, make your decision. Where do you want to be? Where do you want to build? Where's your passion? And here we are today where all of those come together, just like what you said, what Joe was saying is that it's all under the anti-aging umbrella. It's all under the youth preservation umbrella. And under that, we know in the discussions that we've had with Dr. Joe Chang that we aging is tissue damage, but also making sure that your body has all the resources and everything, the nutrients that it needs to be able to function optimally. And what we do on the outside is preserving one of our biggest organs, which is our skin, but we also have the Pharmanex that's addressing all of the needs that we have, the micronutrient needs on the inside. And so bringing those together, it's the outside, the inside for optimal aging and youth preservation.
You know, yes. And I had said that, I live in California and I will get you started where your passion is. I'm not going to force you to do something you don't want to do. If somebody's not into skincare, fine. Nutrition's my passion anyway. If they're not into nutrition, they want to start with skincare, fine. We have fabulous skincare products. But I've always said it doesn't make any sense to be a beautiful corpse. What's the point to do all of the external things to your skin if you're not taking care of the inside? And I remember being on that Baltic Sea 25th anniversary trip and thinking we were riding the ship of some sci-fi innovation when Joe Chang was talking about age lock and gene expression science and epigenetics and nutrigenomics and how we were going to affect our genes to function more youthfully. And I thought, this is the coolest thing I have ever heard. And look at what we've done with the innovations with the product development since then in that ageLock brand and how hyper successful that has been. Prism's just going to be the biggest proof of that in helping people reflect and to age gracefully and youthfully. Joe said a long time ago, I can't stop you from dying, but you're going to die youthful, vibrant, being able to do the things you want to do.
Yeah. Paige, that is amazing. I want to double click on something that you said there where you said, I start people on the products that they're most passionate about. Mm-hmm. Why is that? Why do you focus on products that people are most passionate about? What do you see when people start with products that they're most passionate about?
Well, they're going to be more compliant to begin with. They're going to be compliant. And once they create loyalty with one product or two products, it's really easy to introduce them to other products because they already believe in the company. And I tell them, people say, well, how do you explain it? How do you tell them all the different things? I said, when people say, why are our products different than something that may look all fancy on the, department store or Amazon store or whatever they're getting, it's a 2-word response. The science. That's all you need to know. 6S process, the science is what make our products different. And honestly, I remember walking into that international convention and looking at the people, the leaders, the field leaders, the corporate leaders, and going, this group's glowing. You don't see people chugging, cigarettes out in the hallway with, decrepit looking skin and faces. They weren't massively overweight. You looked at this group and you just go, this is a healthy looking group of people. They look youthful. I want to hang with this group. They look like fun. They're buzzing. Yeah. So it's that internal, external. You start them where they're passionate. They're going to develop. I mean, our distributors probably have the largest subscriptions. I had to go through ADRs, AROs, subscriptions than anybody else because they're married to the product line because they get results and they can see it. It's visible. You can see somebody who's been on the product for a couple of decades age more gracefully than those who haven't. It's obvious.
That is absolutely true. So I want to ask you a couple of questions because you talked about, how you did the business at the very beginning, how that shifted with social and offline. And then now we've got this device Prism that fits in your pocket, which was always a dream. So how are you seeing your business working now? Because with Prism coming out, you're having a resurgence of success and your team is doing more and you're seeing activity. What do you see that is working within your organization? What sort of model? How are you taking it to the market? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's changed it in the way that I hadn't anticipated, but I mean, my Prism goes everywhere. And those who follow me, it's like I've been showing Labradors, one Labrador in particular, for the last couple of years and having fun with that. But I use my Prism to scan people at dog shows. I'm just sitting there with my Prism and they go, I scan myself every single day. Usually once a day, sometimes more. But people will say, well, what's that? And I'm constantly taking my Life Pack, my Youth, my T-Green, my G3, my collagen. So I'm sitting there in my chair and they're like, well, what are you taking? I'm like, oh, well, give me your finger. 15 seconds later, and I'm able to flip people onto a product. I say, don't just take the product, commit to it for 90 days, get on a subscription. Now let's monitor you. Let's get you your own Prism device so you can monitor daily. Don't expect it to change immediately. It's a range. Think color. If you're low yellow, you're wanting to get up to blue. But if you're going low yellow to middle yellow to high yellow, even without a number, it's like, look at it as a range. It's going to fluctuate like blood pressure does during the day or glucose levels. It's going to fluctuate throughout the day. So if you see it change, you better be treating it, as Joe said last night, as a medical device, as a sophisticated scientific piece of equipment. Calibrate it. Use the little microcloth. Calibrate it. Clean off your finger before you use it. Treat it seriously, and it will give you results that are serious, and it'll monitor you. And it's showing, what I love is it's showing more than carotenoids now. It's showing a wellness score, and nobody can compete with that. In the 24 years I've been with this company, September will be 25, that nobody's been able to compete with the Biophotonic scanner. And Prism has just taken it that much further. And we've only begun to peel back some of the layers of the onion in terms of what it's going to be able to deliver in the future for us.
Okay, Paige, we've got a lot to unpack here. So it sounds like you're taking your Prism with you wherever you go.
Everywhere.
You are scanning people at dog shows, and
Airports.
I would imagine everywhere, airports, cafes, everywhere where you go, you're scanning people. And then you are challenging them to get on the products, try for 30 days and monitor the results to see where they end up. You also mentioned making sure that you're walking through the process of recalibrating. I said that weird. Recalibrating and cleaning, and it's indoors. So you're following all of those 3 Ps to make sure that you're getting the right results or the most accurate results every single time.
Right.
So let me ask you about your team because this is you. Are they doing the same thing? Are they just taking their Prism wherever they're going? Are they mixing it with social? Are they just scanning people throughout their busy days? Tell us a little bit about how this is scaling for you.
Well, everybody does it a little bit differently, but yes, my physicians, my health professionals have it either in their pharmacy, in their practice, in their. I've got fitness professionals that have it in their profession. They do it as part of their evaluation. So it goes. If you can do it in person like that, that's great. Many people can't, and that's fine. And we used to have a problem trying to get somebody in front of a scanner to get scanned before they would start on a product. I don't need their Prism score to get them started. They're going to have a number, but I would like to have them, if they're long range, I'll do an assessment, ask them the questions, and then tell them, recommend what I feel is going to be best for them, get them started, and then order them their own scanner, their own Prism. Here's the best part. The Prism's like $300. Come on. I mean, used to have to tell somebody it was about $5,000 of product to qualify to lease a scanner, to spend $150 every single month and buy scan credits every single month. It's a one-shot deal. It's $300. I have people that won't get rid of their S3s, which I'm like, no, you're not getting it. I'm trying to save you money on this. You don't need the S3 if you've got your Prism, but I really like my Prism. I mean, my S3. I'm like, okay, I get it. There's an emotional attachment. That's fine. But buy your Prism. It will be able to do more things. And the best part is, instead of getting one person on a subscription, you're now getting a family on a subscription. Because if you get the Prism in their house, they're scanning their spouse, their children. The children are competitive with each other. I mean, one of my favorite stories, one of my favorite people, Dr. Peter Levy, who was a team elite with us, who led to our whole massive team with Susie Mollison and team that's over in Scotland. And he said he had twin girls and one daughter who was a couple years older than the twins. And he said the one daughter was in the red, the other daughter was in the blue. They're identical twins. I mean, they fooled their teachers. They fooled most of us most of the time, which one was which. But he said, Blondie, that was his nickname for me. He goes, Blondie, you win. I bow down to you. And I said, Peter, why? And he said, I'm in the market with my two girls, and the one is running around because she's angry that her number's lower than her sister's, and she's pulling blueberries and strawberries. And Dad, will this help me beat my sister's score? And he said, I preach nutrition all my life to my girls, and you got them to shift by measuring them on the scanner. That's the power of bringing it to the family, to the household, not just an individual. We have an obligation to have healthier kids and healthier households, and we can do that.
Yeah. Paige, I love what you're bringing up there, especially with the story about how that changes behavior, because it truly does. When I think the quote says something to the extent of, if it can't be measured, it can't be changed, or it
Yes.
can't be improved. And the reverse of that is, if it can be measured, it can be improved. And I have seen that in my own family. I've heard the stories of that from customers and from affiliates. And for those that are on today, I want to hear from you guys. Have you seen this in your own businesses and with your customers as they are taking Prism into their own homes? Have you heard stories about individuals and even children and families that are then more focused on getting their scores up and understanding their nutrition? And tell us a little bit about those in the comments. I'd love to hear them. Paige, what are some of the successes that you're seeing with individuals within your team and your organization as well?
People are having fun with it. It's not as techy. It's not as intimidating. It's really simple with some simple basic policies or processes to follow through to make sure that you're doing it correctly and getting accuracy. But people are having fun with it again. And those who've been passionate about the wellness component, or those that are, I'm sorry, but the 50 and over group that's like, well, the social isn't, that's not my native language. It's my kids' native language, but not mine yet. And I teach them to embrace it, to start posting and to share your life on Facebook, because you will get people that come to you that way. It is a perfect blend. But people who felt like they were a little bit lost with social are back saying, I can embrace this. I'm really excited about this. I have people that have said, I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for the Pharmanex products because of family histories, disease, whatnot, things that they've been able to overcome. But being able to get into people's lives. I mean, I had a group of people the other day where I have had one gal, she's a good friend, she's a couple years younger than me, was hesitant to start on the product. She's a type 1 diabetic. And I got her on the G3, the Youth, the Life Pack. She has never felt better in her life. She's been on for a little over a year. And we were measuring her friends and her husband. Her husband was in the red. And he said, no, I don't really need anything. And I'm looking at him, and both of them handle my dog. I look at him and she goes, what are you going to do? Just check out on me? No, you need a higher number. We need to get you in the blue and the purple too, like Paige said. And he goes, okay, I'll go on it, I guess. And then testing everybody around in the circle. Another gal who had no score. It was so low. It was so at the bottom, looking at her thinking everything's fine. And she said, I've been in and out of the hospital since COVID. I've had all kinds of problems since COVID, blah, 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 blah. And I said, are you open? Are you open to try something? I can guarantee we can improve your number. When you have something that you can measure and give them, I mean, people go, well, how does the money back guarantee work? Do you know that I've never had to give a money back guarantee? Ever. I've had somebody say, this isn't working for me. And it turned out her husband didn't want her spending the money was the issue. She hadn't opened the box. But I've never had to do a money back guarantee because when someone says their number goes up, then I say, okay, it's time for a conversation. Are you taking it? Well, I keep forgetting. I mean, it's the ultimate nutritional lie detector. It's my favorite piece. If you're in the red, you can ignore it, but it's going to catch up with you. And I don't want to tell you I told you so. So you might be able to do something about it now and improve your health before it's broken. It's easier to fix before it's broken.
Yeah, Paige, I love that. I had a neighbor that I knew that was having some health issues, and I just said, hey, let's measure your carotenoids and antioxidants. So I went over to his house and scanned him, and he was in the 100s. I was
Ooh.
like, listen, this is fundamental. You got to start eating fruits and vegetables. I was like, what's your intake like? And he's like, I don't eat anything. I eat all the stuff from the gas station every single day and energy drinks. And that's what I eat. And I was like, oh man,
Yep.
you've
Yep.
got to make some changes. Um, here's a question that I have for you, because I feel like with Prism, at least what I've heard is that some newer affiliates or affiliates that have been on the skincare side for a long time feel a little bit intimidated scanning people and then worried about taking on wellness questions. How do you teach and train somebody to overcome that anxiety or that fear of people are going to ask me questions about health? How would you address that?
I, you can start with the skin. What we're seeing is that lower Prism scores also are perceived as somebody being several years older than their actual age. So it is reflecting both the skincare and the internal part. But it's, I would work with somebody who's really comfortable with that, get some word tracking. Honestly, Buck, I mean, I was in the sick care industry for so long. When I came to the nutrition industry, I thought, oh my gosh, I need a third degree. As if 2 degrees are not enough. I mean, seriously, I was overeducated for what I was doing, but I thought, no, I need a nutritional degree. I need a degree in nutrition. I was looking at going to another university. And then I thought, this is crazy. Just learn some word tracking. And when I came to this company, I listened to Nathan Ricks every single day. I listened to Jeff Mack every single day. I listened to Lon and Dan. I listened to anybody who was doing presentations, and I would listen. I know it sounds stupid, but on cassettes, I would listen on DVDs. I would listen in my car. I would listen until the word tracking became something that was familiar with me. I couldn't talk about Raman spectroscopy and how many nanometers the beam would shift, but I got really good at it when I listened every single day over and over again. Listen to those who are good at it and capture it. I mean, we've got so many resources with our website, with our company, with boards, with people that have been doing the scanner for a long time that you can tap into to get some of that word tracking, but you will find most people are already taking supplements and they don't know if they're working, and you can prove that they're not. When they go, oh, I'll just take my supplements, I've been kind of incompliant. And I go, you can take them all you want, but they'll probably outlive you. There's so much junk and fillers and pesticides and heavy metals in there that they will outlive you. Just leave them in the cabinet and try ours, and I can guarantee ours will work. So it's a simple discussion, just getting them started and then having the number do the rest. You don't need to do much more than that.
Paige, that is great advice. Now, here's the question that I want to ask you and the guests that are with us today is, are you looking, watching, viewing, searching out all of the content that's been put out there for Prism? Because there are binders and terabytes of videos and training and tutorials and tools to help you in your business. If you guys are using that content, I want to see a thumbs up in the chat to make sure that you are using that, because Paige, you're absolutely right. If you're pursuing this as a hobby, great. Pursue it as a hobby. But if you're pursuing this as a professional, you need to become a professional with it, which means that you've got to be trained and you've got to understand the language that's used to talk about Prism and everything else. In fact, if you guys are, I see Jeff Warburton posted the link there for the Media Center, the Learning Center, so that you guys can get in there. But if you have a favorite video or you have a favorite resource, I would love to hear from you in the comments on what it is that you're doing. Paige, what is the single best advice that you would give to someone starting their business today with Prism?
Well, go fast, don't go slow. What I will say is this window is exceptional. I mean, having been, almost 35 years in this industry, it's not always like this. There aren't always windows that are hyper lucrative and hyper poised to grow. This is one of those windows. If you take it casually, it will create casualties in your business. And you will look back and think, oh no. Really good friend of mine, Joyce Dell, told me when I first came to this company, and she'd been a Blue Diamond with this company way before I even got started. And she said, we were told, choose your distractions in a window like this. Choose your distractions wisely, because they will cost you dearly. Everybody has distractions. Everybody can be busy. I'm so busy. I'm so busy. If you guys actually followed me around, you'd see I am ridiculously busy, but I am lethally focused and very effective at what I'm doing with recruiting and creating subscriptions, because I passionately believe in what I do. And I believe that I feel obligated to share with others, not just the Prism and the products, but the lifestyle. As we're driving to the dog show this morning, and I'm thinking all of these people are going to work and they're in a snarl of traffic. And I'm thinking, I'm so grateful for my life. I can do whatever I want, whether it's ballroom dancing, whether it's traveling to Africa and back, or Madrid and back, which we've done both of those in the last 30 days or so. I mean, it's like, pinch me. It's the lifestyle that's extraordinary. And I always say, living a healthy lifestyle does wonders for immune system too. But I would not take this window casually. It will shift, it will change, it will evolve. I guarantee that. But right now it's so darn fun. And if you're concerned and you think, well, I don't know how to talk about the raw lights and all the different, there's 5 instead of 1, and how do I memorize? I don't get stuck in the details. I learn the details that are critical for my understanding and for me being able to help others understand, but I do not get stuck in the minutia that's going to slow me down. I had Lon Wardrop told me many, many years ago, he said, and I was looking at minutia of compensation plan deals, and he said, girl, you are so worried about the nickels and dimes, and I'm desperately trying to teach you how to be a millionaire. And I went, he goes, the back end is going to set you free. The back end is where you're going to build the team, where you're going to have the camaraderie, where you're going to have the leverage, where you're going to have the fun. So who do you know who knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who's hungry and wants to run in a window like this? It's totally true. And yes, Jason Harris, you learn the comp plan by doing it. Don't try to figure out the team elite and yet until you figure out how to get to brand rep. That's number one. And then you build from there to Ruby, to Blue, to Team Elite, to Platinum Elite, to Circle of Excellence. That's how you learn the game, by doing it.
Paige, I absolutely love that. That is such great advice. And Jason, thank you for that. You learn the comp plan by making the money. And it's the same thing with Prism. You learn Prism by scanning people. And once you get in there and you start hearing some of the concerns or questions that people have, you will learn them and you will be able to overcome them. And the resources are there to help you. Don't get paralyzed by analysis and by watching videos. Jump in, do it. And in doing it is where you learn. And yes, Susanna says you earn while you learn. That's exactly right. So Paige, that was very sage advice. I appreciate it so much. You guys, we want to hear from you. Tell us what other topics that you want to hear about on this broadcast, Integrated Beauty and Wellness. We want to provide the information, the stories, the details to help you in your businesses. And it could be that you want to hear more about business, that you want to hear more about product, if you want to hear more about the science or leadership. We have a wealth of people just like Paige Riffle that have been with us at Nu Skin for 24 plus years, but 35 years in the channel. She's seen it all. And we've got to bring her experience of those individuals that have been around for a while to the forefront so that we can be better as leaders within not only Nu Skin, not only in the Americas, but in all of direct selling across the globe. Paige, one more time, thank you so much for being with us today. It's a pleasure to have you, and thank you so much for sharing all of your experience and your knowledge. And you guys, thank you for joining us. My name is Buck McMurray. This is Nu Skin, and this is the Integrated Wellness Revolution. Thank you so much, and have a great weekend.
My pleasure. Have fun, everyone.